Yeah, hey, Governor, this is Andrew with AP. Had two things I wanted to ask you about. First of all, the coronavirus relief package, the slimmed down version, it didn't get through. They didn't get through the Senate today. It looks like there's not much hope of there being a package getting through before November. Wanted to see what impact could that end up having on Arkansas in terms of the response here, and also in terms of the state's finances. Is this going to put any kind of strain if there isn't any kind of additional relief package? And the second thing I wanted to ask you about, I know you were asked about this yesterday, but wanted to follow up on the president's interviews with Bob Woodward. Wanted to see, does it concern you at all that the president is admitting that he intentionally downplayed the coronavirus risk, either from a policy standpoint and also from a public health standpoint? Does that alarm you at all that he wasn't being straightforward on what the threat was?
Good, thank you. In terms of the negotiations in Congress, have always been skeptical, particularly in the last couple of weeks, that they would reach a deal before the election date. So I think that is after the election date. I do want them to reach a deal. They need to, because there's additional assistance and flexibility that needs to be provided to the states. And the primary impact, I'm not worried about the state budget. The state budget is in good shape. We have an unallocated surplus. Our revenue stream is good every month. And so the concern, though, is in the CARES Act funding that we have, that we're allocating out to our counties and our cities. We're putting it into, one of them would be a structure for our immunization program in the future. And we have some money set aside, but one of the requirements of the current CARES Act is that that money has to be spent by the end of this year. And whenever you're looking at high-speed internet, which is important for us during a pandemic, that money is hard to get spent by December 30th. So the most urgent need is that they come together and provide an extension of time for the expenditure of those funds that are available to us. There's other needs that are out there, but that's the most important issue that I hope that they address. In terms of the second part of your question in reference to Bob Woodward's book, I looked at that. I looked at what the president said, and I don't think, anybody is surprised by the fact that he tried to encourage the economy. He tried to minimize some of this virus and its impact. I think that's clear, not from many different public statements. But what's important to note is that the public was very well informed. One of the things that was attributed to the president, is that this was transmissible in a viral way, that it's airborne. Well, everybody knew that early on, and that was being spoken by Dr. Fauci. We understood that. So the public is not misled on that. The facts are well known. I think for that reason, Dr. Fauci was not overly concerned about the president's comment. Whenever it comes to the public dialogue and information, the most important thing is, as a leader, that you give honest information to the public, that you make sure that they're aware of what is needed for them to make decisions on their behavior. It's also important that a leader not create panic. And at that point in time, there was a lot of information out there that was panic-oriented, and that was not really supportable by data. If you remember, here in Arkansas, we were going to fill up War Memorial Stadium with the need for hospital space. Well, that's information that is out there, but we don't stress it as leaders, because that does create, it was not realistic, and it would create extraordinary concern. So I think there is that balance of being honest and straightforward, but at the same time, not creating panic.
Governor, it's Ashley Godwin with THV 11. In your meetings that you had with President Trump and Vice President Pence, did they ever talk about the severity of the virus, how severe it was or not severe in their opinion? And were you ever told to play it down, or as you said, minimize this virus?
I've never been told in any of my meetings to minimize the concern of the virus. The presentations from the Vice President, the Coronavirus Task Force, the Vice President makes comments that are very straightforward as what we're doing, and then it goes through the medical professionals and our public health experts, Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci, the Admiral for testing, on down the list. So we hear directly from the public health experts, and it's all in a factual way. And there's never been any minimizing of it. We all hear President Trump's public comments, and everybody understands what he was doing, how he's communicating, and his unique style. So I just didn't see, my frustrations were always in the area of testing and what we needed more support on. But it was, and some frustration in terms of the national messaging on wearing a mask and the importance of it. Beyond that, they've been very, very supportive, and I think their communication has been very helpful.